turned out that there's only one other rock found that size in Alberta to date, and it happened to be our rock.
Have you ever wondered what mysteries lie beneath the Earth's surface? Most days, digging into the ground could turn up nothing more than rocks, pipes, and maybe some old relics. But sometimes, miners find some very surprising things while breaking open the stones and digging the ground. Sometimes they find remains of ancient times that are of historical importance, or even buried treasures. What incredible discovery could be just lying beneath your feet? Join us as we explore some of the most mind-blowing finds that excavators have ever come across. A buried Ferrari. Imagine this. You're in your backyard, digging around, maybe planting some flowers, and suddenly you hit something metal. No, it's not a buried treasure chest from a pirate's loot. This is something far more modern and, for car enthusiasts, even more valuable. That's exactly what happened in Los Angeles back in 1978. But the treasure wasn't gold or jewels. It was a buried 1974 Ferrari Dyno 246 GTS. The luxury sports car had been buried for nearly 4 years under the soil, right in a suburban backyard. The story goes way back in 1974, when Rosendo Cruz, a Los Angeles plumber, bought a Ferrari Dino as a special gift for his wife. Just 2 months after purchasing the car, after a romantic dinner to celebrate their anniversary, Rosendo and his wife returned home, only to find the car stolen. Imagine the shock. But this story was far from over. 4 years later, in 1978, in West Athens, Los Angeles, when 2 boys were playing in their backyard, they came across something that looked so odd. They went to report what they had seen to some of the sheriff's deputies who were close by. The next thing anyone knew, a Ferrari was being dug out of the dirt like some remarkable lost treasure. How could a Ferrari, the most popular car, find its way buried in someone's backyard? But here is the twist. It turns out that the so-called theft wasn't at all what it seemed. When investigations were done, they uncovered something that shocked everyone. It turns out that Rosendo Cruz himself, the same man who reported the car missing, was involved in the disappearance of the car. He wanted to commit insurance fraud with the alleged thieves. He had plotted a plan with the so-called thieves to dismantle the car and sell its parts at a chop shop. For whatever reason, everything didn't work out as planned, and they ended up burying the Ferrari instead. They apparently forgot where they buried it. Talk about a botched heist. Crazy, right? This isn't your typical buried treasure story, but it's one that car lovers and mystery fans still talk about today. But just when you thought the story couldn't get any wilder, the discovery of the Ferrari takes an unexpected turn into the depths of history. What if I told you that beneath the suburban tranquility, an artifact of Cold War paranoia lay hidden for decades? Hold on tight, because this next discovery will not only unravel a piece of history, but also reveal secrets that have remained buried for years. The Cold War Fallout Shelter. In the peaceful suburb of Tucson, Arizona, beneath the sun-kissed grass of a very normal backyard, something extraordinary was found. A Cold War fallout shelter buried beneath decades of soil and time. These were safe shelters built to protect families from the unimaginable horror of nuclear attacks. All this started with John Sims, who had heard rumors about this shelter from the previous property owner. John was so fascinated by the story and couldn't resist the urge to go find this shelter. With a metal detector in one hand and a spade in the other, John embarked on a mission to find and dig up this mysterious artifact. And guess what? It didn't take long before he hit something solid, something that would lead him straight into the past. Under all that dirt, he discovered a hatch made of steel. The hatch he had found was a fallout shelter that was built back in the year 1961, when the threat of nuclear war was strong. As John opened the hatch and went into the shelter, it was like stepping into a time capsule. The walls of concrete, topped with a fiberglass dome, seemed to whisper stories of a tense, uncertain era. Although the room was empty, long since stripped of its supplies, the atmosphere alone was enough to give you chills. Instead of leaving it to collect dust, John had other bigger plans for it. He wanted to restore the shelter to its original state so that people from future generations could literally be able to step into history. Just imagine walking into a 1960s fallout shelter and seeing right before your eyes all the cold, calculated details of how people prepared to survive the nuclear attacks. This was not just someone's backyard curiosity. It is a remarkable piece of history that has a story to tell. Given a chance, would you visit one of these shelters, or does the thought of it scare you? Let us know in the comments below. The prehistoric animal shell. On Christmas Day, a passerby noticed what appeared to be an unusually large shell that was over 2 feet long on the riverbank. Its black visible scales raised the curiosity in him. At first sight of this giant fossil, many immediately suggested that it must be the ancient remains of a dinosaur. When experts arrived, they discovered that the shell belonged to an ancient giant armadillo called the Glyptodon. Can you imagine an animal that is the size of a small car and is armored like a tank just roaming free in the plains of South America? This discovery was also confirmed by paleontologist Alejandro Kras. He said the Glyptodons were the ancestors of our modern armadillos of today. They weighed up to 1 ton, and they were covered in thick, bony armor that protected them against the many dangers that they were facing at that time. They had a very thick shell that, in some instances, it could literally leave some permanent marks on the ground as it moved. For hundreds of years, the armored shell of a Glyptodon has been buried beneath layers of mud. The discovery offers a rare glimpse into the ancient times when these rare creatures walked the earth. Whale fossils. In Southern California, an extraordinary chapter in the Earth's history has just been written. This story starts years ago with a teenage boy who found something remarkable in a creek that ran behind his family home. What began as a young boy's curiosity about some old fossils had turned into one of history's amazing discoveries, and it also fascinated the scientific community. Now, the backyard space has become the center of extraordinary scientific activity. With the help of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department search and rescue team, a rare whale fossil that was approximately 16 to 17 million years old was uncovered, stuck in a thick rock. After examining it, they discovered that they were fossils of the baleen whale. The baleen whale was a very huge sea creature known for its unique filter-feeding plates called the baleen plates. These plates were used to filter small plankton and krill out of seawater, playing a crucial role in maintaining the balance of the ocean's ecosystem. Also, its huge size and its unique feeding mechanisms made it rule over the seas. This finding not only broadens our understanding of prehistoric sea life, but also the continuing revelations beneath Earth. But just as we dig deeper into the secrets buried beneath Southern California's soil, the ground reveals yet another chilling twist. Prepare to be captivated by the unsettling tale of a creepy stone skull that leaves everyone questioning the dark past hidden beneath our feet. Creepy stone skull. Emily Hoffman had just moved into a new home, ready to settle in and enjoy her fresh start. Little did she know, her excitement would soon turn into puzzlement as she stumbled into something weird buried right in her backyard. While Emily was unpacking her things, she felt like something about her new surroundings just didn't quite seem to feel right. Then, one day, after a heavy rainstorm, she looked out her window and was shocked. Protruding out of the ground, so to say, were what appeared to be skulls half buried into the soil in her backyard. This was one of those kinds of discoveries that would send chills down anyone's spine. She immediately took pictures of what she had discovered and posted them on the internet. In no time, her post went viral. People couldn't get enough of the mystery of the skulls in her backyard. Was this some kind of an ancient burial site? Or maybe some sort of supernatural activity? Eventually, the story took an unexpected twist. The previous owner of the house saw Emily's posts and reached out to her. It turns out that the skulls weren't ancient or evil at all. They were handmade stepping stones. It just so happened that the husband of the previous owner created these cement skulls to deal with the muddy backyard, and that they had forgotten about them while moving. She also said that she had always wanted to leave something creepy for the next tenants to find, but had just never gotten around to it until now. Talk about crossing something off the bucket list. Let's just say, in the end, what was supposed to be some sort of creepy mystery in the backyard ended with a good laugh. But let's get real. those skulls really do look frightening, don't they? Voodoo doll. In one calm neighborhood of Lancing, in West Sussex, England, one unfortunate homeowner found something a bit scary. As he was digging in his backyard, he found something rather interesting. He found a small, well-crafted object that literally gave him chills. Curiosity got the better part of him, and he decided to take pictures of the mysterious object and post them on Reddit, hoping that someone would help him understand where it came from and its purpose. He received answers from different people, all with a different understanding of the nature of the object. Some people said that it looked just like a voodoo doll, something that has often been connected with magical or cult practices and sometimes even associated with harmful and evil activities. Of course, not everyone was so quick to believe that. Others had more realistic explanations. Others said that this was just a puppet that was used for some magical influences. In the old traditions, such dolls were used to represent specific people, and they even had the power to change those people's fates. Some crazy theories, right? Wherever that doll came from, David could feel the negative energy it produced. His community members advised him to dispose of the doll safely. Well, that was the safest thing to do because he didn't know the doll's origin, and also to avoid risking inviting unknown evil into his home, don't you think? However, there are no further details concerning David William and the doll. We don't know if David followed the advice the community gave him or if the doll did something to him. What do you think? Was it just an ordinary doll, or was it connected to something evil? 19th century sword. Now imagine you are working on your backyard, maybe creating a new backyard space, and then you accidentally find a sword. This is so unexpected, right? This is what happened to the Segan family in Ottawa's Glebe neighborhood in Canada. What started as a normal, simple home improvement project turned into a deep historical mystery. When contractors hired by the family were busy doing their project, they hit something that they were not expecting. At first, it looked like just rubble and dirt until it wasn't. When they moved closer, they saw something that looked like metal. Removing the metal from the soil, they found that it was a rusted sword, a 19th century sword buried beneath the soil. Although it was rusty because it had been underground for all those years, it still carried the marks of its past. Normally, it is just rocks and dirt buried in the ground, but this is not something we often see or hear. This discovery came as a surprise to everyone who was there. They called their archaeologist friend to help them piece the puzzle together. After some analysis, it was discovered this was no ordinary sword. It was one of the British infantry weapons from the late 19th century, possibly carried by an officer of the 43rd Ottawa and Carleton Rifles. Talk about finding history in your own backyard. Just imagine the stories the sword could tell if only it could speak. Just when you thought the surprises from beneath the surface couldn't get any more astounding, prepare for a twist that brings history to life in the most unexpected way. From a rusted sword that tells tales of 19th century battles, we now uncover a glittering find that seems straight out of a medieval legend. Picture this. A routine backyard project unexpectedly uncovers a trove of medieval jewels so exquisite they could have been crafted for royalty. What was once forgotten in a dusty corner is about to reveal its dazzling secrets, adding yet another layer to the fascinating history hidden in our own backyards. Medieval jewels. Imagine that you are in your backyard, just extending the garden pond, just one of those daily routine home improvement projects, and suddenly you feel your shovel hitting something hard. Well, what if that would turn an ordinary-looking moment into quite an extraordinary discovery of all time? This is precisely what happened to one Austrian man. Just south of Vienna, this lucky homeowner was digging in his backyard to expand to his pond when he felt his spade hitting something solid. He uncovered a collection of jewelry so breathtaking it almost could have been plucked from the pages of some historical story. When the man first discovered it, he had no clue what it was. He took them and kept them in a box. He then stashed it away in his basement. He left the box there for years, gathering dust because he had forgotten about it. Years later, when he was preparing to sell the house, he found the box again, just right where he had left it in his basement. And that is when he decided to take one last look in the box. Curiosity got the better part of him. And it was when he decided to take one last look in the box He cleaned the jewels, took pictures of them, and posted them online. The images rang out to collectors, historians, and even amateur archaeologists. The social media buzz attracted the attention of the Austrian Federal Monument Agency. The agency sent specialists to go and take a look at the jewels, and they found something truly amazing. They found rings, brooches, belt buckles, and even gold-plated silver plates that were approximately 650 years old. These treasures provide a glimpse into the rich history of Austria, not only in terms of material culture, but also concerning artistry and analogy, showing the old-fashioned way that people used to decorate their things. One by one, each piece and pattern carefully showed the great craftsmanship of the ancient time on a wider scale. Can you imagine that these talents were buried under the soil for all those centuries? 1,400 years old, Roman villa. In the peaceful countryside of Wiltshire in England, a very unexpected ordinary excavation turned into a breathtaking historical discovery. A property developer, Luke Irwin, was building a recreational area for his children around an old barn when he discovered something far more astonishing than cables and concrete. Lying beneath the apparently ordinary grounds of his farmhouse was a treasure from ancient times, a Roman villa that was probably more than 1,400 years old. What Luke found was no ordinary Roman villa, but the largest ever found in the United Kingdom. It measured around 4.5 acres, huge. This villa simply speaks of the greatness and civilization of the Romans. The mosaic floors of the villa were quite well preserved, displaying beautiful carved stonework with structures containing their unique designs. The floors of the villa were mainly made up of sophisticated mosaics, while beautiful carved stone decorations beautified the walls. This villa represents one part of ancient history, giving us a chance to learn more about the luxurious lives of the Romans. As excavation continues, who knows what more secrets this ancient Roman marvel might reveal? Rare obsidian artifacts. At first, it was just a normal day in the garden for Jennifer Yeeman and her husband, Hector Lechung, before they discovered something remarkable. While working in the garden, Hector came across a big black rock that caught his attention. At first sight, without carefully looking at it, it seemed no different from the rest of the dirt and stones around it. Little did they know they had just found a remarkable piece of history. What Hector initially believed to be a simple rock turned out to be a piece of obsidian core weighing 46 pounds. For those who don't know what it is, obsidian is a relatively rare volcanic glass that is created when lava has been cooled very fast, with sharp edges and a glassy texture. The material doesn't quite occur in the terrain around Alberta, which makes this find all the more special. Obsidian was highly valued throughout human history for its uses and attractive look. Unlike other rocks, obsidian forms when lava cools down so quickly that crystals never have a chance to form. This gives the obsidian a smooth, glassy surface. People from ancient times used this to make their tools and weapons. Given that obsidian is rare in Alberta, it makes this discovery all the more interesting. This discovery is remarkable because only small pieces of obsidian have been found around this particular area. Such a huge piece has never been found before. Just when you think you've seen it all, the past has a way of surfacing in the most unexpected forms. From a stunning obsidian find that offers a glimpse into ancient craftsmanship, we now uncover a chilling relic from a darker era. This startling discovery not only brings history back to the forefront, but also uncovers a piece of our collective past that many would rather leave buried. Giant buried swastika. In a twist that seems straight out of a historical thriller, construction workers in Germany recently uncovered an enormous concrete swastika while digging up a sports field for new changing rooms. This isn't your typical construction surprise. This swastika was massive. It measured 13 by 13 feet, and it has a dark past that was connected to World War II. The discovery was at Heining Stadium, where workers were shocked to find these remains of history buried deep beneath the surface. A swastika once formed the foundation of the monument of the Nazi regime that had been destroyed and hidden in the aftermath of the fall of the Third Reich. For decades, it remained buried just like a ghost from that dark chapter in history. This was nothing less than a shocking revelation for the members and residents of this sports club here in Heining Stadium. The swastika is now largely a universal sign of hate and oppression, one that most people wish to forget exists. City officials quickly began to take action regarding the swastika, recognizing at an early point that it was a rather delicate matter. It was to be removed as soon as possible, but the logistics were tricky. The swastika was too big and heavy to move. It was over a foot underground and too huge to move it on in one piece. Instead, officials opted to break it up with a jackhammer so that it could be moved in pieces. What are your thoughts about this particular artifact? What do you think should be done to them? Should they be preserved for historical evidence or destroyed so that no one could use them anymore due to their hateful origins? Let us know in the comments section below. Huge dinosaur skeleton. So, what was to be some sort of ordinary construction day turned out to be one of the most significant paleontological discoveries of the decade. Luis, a construction worker from Spain, was working on his land in Pombal when he found several bone fragments just below the ground. But little did he know this was no ordinary fossil. It was part of one of the largest dinosaur skeletons ever found in Europe. At first glance, they appeared to be nothing more than strange little rocks protruding from the ground. But after the experts were called in, they examined them and discovered that these were not just ordinary rocks. They were the bones of a dinosaur. Not just any dinosaur. These were bones from a dinosaur that was from the sauropod family, a group known for their gigantic size, long necks, and herbivorous diets that roamed this earth roughly 160 million years ago during the time of the Upper Jurassic to Lower Cretaceous. You have probably seen them in movies as gentle giants towering above the landscape in prehistoric times. Imagine a creature that stood 39 feet tall and stretched a jaw-dropping 82 feet in length. These dinosaurs were among the largest animals that ever walked on Earth. Over the years, paleontologists from Spain and Portugal worked endlessly at the dig site, uncovering it bit by bit. They found ribs that were more than 10 feet long and vertebrae that told a story about an absolute titan of a creature. What was really shocking was that the skeleton was found in almost perfect anatomical alignment, which is rare for this age and size of a fossil. It gives a glimpse into an era when dinosaurs still roamed the earth, and this sauropod probably wandered through what today is Portugal. But this wasn't just like any other normal dinosaur skeleton discovery. This discovery was new evidence to help scientists learn and understand how these prehistoric creatures lived and adapted on Earth. Sauropods are a group of dinosaurs that belong to a family that was commonly known for their gigantic sizes. This particular discovery could probably be one of the biggest ones that has ever been found before. According to researchers, it could belong to a species like Brachiosaurus or Lusotodon, a dinosaur previously discovered in western Portugal. Their long necks allowed these large animals to reach and eat the leaves off even the highest treetops. Their huge sizes also offered them protection from predators. And get this, scientists still think that there might be more of the skeleton buried underground. They have decided to continue digging, hoping to find more information about this gigantic animal and how it lived on Earth. As they continue digging deeper, who knows what other prehistoric secrets they might find just below our feet. The mysterious black sarcophagus of Alexandria. In the heart of Alexandria, Egypt, in 2018, something great was found. A discovery that came straight out of the cover of an ancient secret. Under the modern streets of this city, for over 2,000 years, lay this huge sarcophagus of black granite, undisturbed since times long gone. This came as a surprise to archaeologists and historians. Alexander was not just any other ordinary city after all. It was a city that was founded by none other than Alexander the Great himself, a legendary ruler whose burial site has remained to be one of history's best-kept secrets. When news broke about the discovery of this black sarcophagus, a lot of people started wondering, is this his final resting place? Could this giant sarcophagus actually hold the remains of Alexander himself? If this was the case, then this could have been the biggest archaeological discovery of all time. For centuries, Alexander's tomb had always been the subject of mystery. Scientists had looked for it since time immemorial, but now they came across this sarcophagus. Maybe it is the sarcophagus that is going to rewrite history. And so, a team of experts geared up with protective gear to solve the mystery. But this was not just any ordinary discovery. Rumors started to spread that disturbing the ancient grave would awaken a curse, one that protected this sarcophagus and its contents for years. Despite all that was said, the team still continued with their mission, with the efforts to unlock those secrets hidden all these years. After all, history waits for no one. They entered the tomb so cautiously, knowing that anything that had not been touched for 2 millennia could contain more than just bones. The size of the sarcophagus was so heavy and large that it made them come to the conclusion that maybe the person who was buried there was someone important. They thought that maybe it was either a ruler, a high-ranking official, or a great warrior. When the stone lid was opened, what they found inside was just shocking. It was not what they had hoped to find. Suddenly, an awful smell filled the air. The power of the odor seemed so unnatural. It was as if something had festered in the dark for thousands of years. What they saw inside were not the remains of Alexander the Great, nor any treasures from the royal family. Instead, they found 3 skeletons deep inside some sort of strange red-brown liquid. The disappointment of not finding Alexander the Great soon gave way to new questions. Who were the 3 people? Why such a huge sarcophagus, and what was that strange liquid? As archaeologists were doing their investigation, they found out that the remains were most likely of ancient Egyptian soldiers who could be army officers. The skeletons, though not royal, were still important. This led the experts to believe that this was not a simple burial, but rather a family tomb only reserved for people with status. The most mysterious thing of all was the red-brownish liquid. Some suggested that it was merely water that had somehow managed to get inside the tomb after thousands of years and mixed with the remains. Others thought that this could possibly be an ancient fluid that is used to preserve the bodies of the dead, which had degraded over the years. No one really knew where it actually came from and what it was meant for. Well, there you have it, folks. From the mysterious black sarcophagus of Alexandria and buried Ferraris to hidden dinosaur giants and mysterious stone skulls, these amazing discoveries remind us just how much our world still holds hidden wonders and secrets waiting to be uncovered. Whether it's discovering a piece of history or stumbling upon unusual artifacts, every discovery adds a new chapter to our understanding of the past. Which one was the most shocking? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure to give a thumbs up to this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so as to get notifications anytime we upload more.